When I die, you're gonna wish you treated your mother better. Let's translate that from narcissistic mother into English. In today's video and the next couple of videos, I'm gonna be talking about the shit that narcissistic mothers say, and this applies to narcissistic fathers too, and sometimes just narcissists in general. They all kind of follow the same playbook, but I'm gonna say narcissistic mothers. So if the narcissist in your life is not your mother, just replace it with whoever it is and it will still apply. I get so many comments where people just like get their panties in a bunch because I say narcissistic mother. And then they're like, oh, but father too. Da-da. Like, use your brain. It all fits. Okay. Like, there's only so many like different adjectives I can use in a sentence before the attention span of people like drops off and then no one watches the video because I'm talking about everything. So just fill in the blank. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Let's Get Your Shift Together. And check out the link in the pinned comment for more resources and ways to work with me. I just made a brand new guide, 7 steps on how to stop feeding the narcissist your energy. I think you'll really enjoy it. Just check it out at that link in the pinned comment. So as most of you already know, my narcissistic mother died in 2020. So this is like 5 years ago now because I'm making this video in 2025. And one of her particularly classic lines, which unfortunately I've come to realize a lot of other people have gotten this line from their narcissistic mothers as well. And, you know, it's at the end of the day, all of our stories are so similar, like identical almost. And it's like they literally have the exact same script and playbook that they follow. It's so weird and predictable, and they all seem to follow the exact same instructions from the playbook. And it doesn't even matter what corner of the planet you're from. Like, I used to chalk this up to culture. Like, I thought just Italians were crazy. But no, it's narcissists. It's not just Italians who are like this. And I've had clients from all over the world, different continents, all the things, and it's apparently everyone's Italian, so it is not cultural. But anyways, let's talk about when I die, you're going to regret treating me this way. And it's just such a horrendous thing to say because like you're manipulating the other person with your mortality because like, you know, we're all going to die. And it wasn't until I actually did my inner work that I realized I didn't actually treat my mother badly. If anything, she treated me badly. She abused me for my entire life, but you know, they love to project. And so the only way that I treated her badly was like if I set boundaries or if I said no to her or, you know, didn't do what she wanted me to do. Therefore, that made me like treating her so badly. And therefore, I'm going to be so sorry when she dies. And it's been 5 years. And first of all, I'm not sorry. Second of all, I didn't treat her badly. I was just having a normal reaction to abuse. And, you know, I was becoming an autonomous adult. And that's not treating somebody badly. But reality doesn't have a good look for narcissists. So it was just in her delusional mind that I was just such a terrible daughter. And just another thing, too, that I just want people to understand, like any adult child of a narcissist, like it is not your job to be a good daughter or a good son or a good child to your parent. That is such a skewed, messed up, like ass backwards way of looking at things. Like they need to be good parents. They need to just not abuse their kids. And at the end of the day, like I saw a meme recently on, I think probably Instagram, where it said something along the lines of like, oh, my mom is disappointed in me for becoming such a bad daughter, or my mom's disappointed in me for being such a bad daughter, but I'm not that impressed with her behavior as a parent, so I guess we're even. So I just thought that was hilarious. And if that helps you look at it in a different light, then awesome. And so when a narcissistic mother says, when I die, you'll wish you treated your mother better, in English, what that really means is, hey, your reaction to my abuse is pissing me off, so I'm going to pull the ultimate weapon, the when I die card. And they say this in order to make you feel guilty and full of regret so that they can keep controlling and abusing you. And what you have to understand is that people who feel guilty are easier to control. So the more that your narcissistic mother or father or whoever can make you feel like you're the biggest piece of shit for, I don't know, breathing in the wrong direction or whatever they're going on about this time, you start to believe that you're responsible for their death because you stress them out so much. And then you have this overwhelming guilt and fear and sense of obligation that your mom is trying to instill into you. And, you know, that really does do the trick. And then you're more likely to stick around for more abuse because you feel like you've done something so bad and you're like a murderer But the reality is, like, they're literally just dangling their mortality in front of you. Okay. And like your reaction to the abuse from your parent is like not the problem. It's normal. Anybody would react whilst they're being emotionally abused by somebody, especially, their own mother. Like, that's, in my opinion, like having a narcissistic mother is the ultimate betrayal because that's the one person that you're supposed to trust by default. You're biologically wired to trust this person, and they're doing the worst thing possible to you. They're literally affecting your brain chemistry, like the landscape of your mentality is being scrambled just to soothe her pathetic little ego. And so you having a reaction to all of this shit and trauma that you've been through is not the problem. And the real problem is the fact that they are abusing you. Okay. So I just really want you to understand that, because when we've been gaslit for our entire lives and manipulated for our entire lives, it's so easy to think, oh my God, it's my fault. I did something wrong. I'm causing all these problems. I'm such a terrible daughter. If only I could, I don't know, tolerate the abuse better, or like not be so sensitive or whatever, which you are not too sensitive. You are a normal human with emotions who would react, and like anybody going through what you went through would have reacted the same way. And nobody is supposed to know how to handle abuse from their parents, because guess what? Parents are not supposed to abuse their children. Let's be honest, right? Like, it's just not supposed to happen. And so the way you react is just the way you react. And that is not the problem, but they make it the problem. So you get distracted and you start to really internalize, this belief that, oh my gosh, I'm the issue. I did something wrong here and I need to try harder. And that's you giving your narcissistic mother supply. If you don't know what supply is, there is somewhere up here, you will see the link to go to that video on what exactly the narcissist wants. And really, the when I die card is just another trap to get more supply from you. And, like, not to be morbid or anything, but we're all going to die one day. Like, nobody's immortal. Realistically, every single human who is alive is going to die. Every single human who has lived has died. Everybody's going to die. Like, it's just part of life. There's only two guarantees. No, let's say three guarantees in life. Number one, you're going to die. Number two, taxes. Number three, the narcissist is not going to change. And so just because humans are mortal, it doesn't mean that they have the right to be abusive, or that abuse should just be accepted because that person who's abusing you is going to die. Okay. Using their inevitable death as leverage is so twisted, and it's literally just a way for narcissistic parents to control their children. And it's not cool. And I'll share a little bit of my own personal experience with this. When I was going through it as a child, I would really internalize this quote of like, when my mom dies, I'm going to be so sorry. And I would have these horrible thoughts. And, like, I was an 8-year-old kid literally thinking, would that make me a murderer if she had a stroke and died because I stressed her out so much? And like, no kid should be thinking like that. And my mom's thing was like, I'm going to have a stroke. Like, because my grandmother had a stroke. She didn't die from it. She ended up paralyzed. And then my mom did this whole thing where like she took care of her. And then she would put that on me, saying like, when she has a stroke, I'm going to have to like wipe her ass and all that. And that was like, if she survives the stroke. And, I just really thought like, it's my fault. Like, I'm going to go to jail for giving my mom a stroke, and like she's going to die. And then like, wouldn't this make me an orphan? Because I didn't really have my dad around. I was alienated from him until I was in my 20s. That's another story for another time. But I did figure out the truth that he wasn't such a bad guy and my mom wasn't such an angel. But when I was a kid, he was just not an option for me as a parent. So I just had this fear that like, I'm going to be an orphan. But at the same time, I was kind of like jealous of orphans because they, didn't have to deal with their crazy mothers. And like, when I share stories about my childhood, and like, especially now, 6 years plus into my healing journey, it's like, how did I survive this shit? You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild just being so like on the other side of all the things, and just looking back and thinking like, gosh, I am so glad that that's done. I am so glad I never have to like be a child again. And it's just further validation that like she was exactly who she was, like a psycho hose beast. And, I literally believed that I only had my mother, and she was the only person that I would ever have in general, ever. So if something happened to her, I'd be screwed. And that is just so messed up for a child to be thinking that way. And then, like, I would hate myself and wish that I wasn't such a bad kid, when the reality is I was not a bad kid at all. I was just being abused and reacting to being abused. So yeah, the day came for me when my mother did die in 2020, and reacting to her abuse was never me treating her badly. And I literally have no regrets on treating her badly because I didn't. I was just having a reaction to the abuse, and it took a lot of inner work for me to figure that out. So it's not like, I just was told this by like some guru and then I internalized it. No, like I actually had to do the work, process my emotions, do the tough shit that nobody wants to do. And here we are. I can talk about this, and I'm so happy that I can talk about this because I know so many people go through this. Zero regrets. If I have to regret something, because I don't know, like people are just so obsessed with like, oh, you're going to make this decision, you're going to regret it. Okay, sure. If I have to regret something, I regret not having moved out of her house sooner. I don't want to say like the way that it all played out was fine, like living at my mother's house till I was like 26, 27, because that was not fine at all. But, I didn't realize I had been manipulated. But now that I've done the inner work and like it's been 6+ years on my healing journey, I really just accepted the timeline that I was on, and it is what it is, and it was what it was. At the end of the day, mortality does not excuse abuse, and it is okay to cut off your toxic family members, even if that's your mother, even if that's your father, and even if that abuser is going to inevitably die one day, like we all are. Mortality does not ever excuse abuse. Like, are we going to stop putting actual murderers in jail because they're going to die? No. Like, hello. So, like just weaponizing the fact that we're all going to die is pretty fucked up in my opinion. And, I'm sure some narcissists might not agree with that. I'm sure we'll see them in the comments, but that's their problem. So that's pretty much it for today's video. If this hit home, you are not alone. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I did make a free guide. It is brand new. It's called 7 Steps to Stop Feeding the Narcissist Your Energy, and it's going to help you to protect your peace and stop getting hooked by this kind of manipulation. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Feel free to drop a comment if you've heard this line before, or if you want me to translate more crap that you've heard the narcissist in your life say. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share this video with somebody who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.